Good morning, students of class ninth. In the previous video, we have discussed about the fauna, the wildlife which is present in India. And now in today's video, we will be discussing about the conservation of that wildlife. Okay, so the topic for today will be the conservation of that wildlife. Before starting to the content, I would like you all to open your books, your textbooks, because if you will be opening your textbook, then only you will be able to develop a better understanding of the topic, because I am teaching from your NCRT books only. And if you will not open the books, you will not be able to understand that easily. Okay, so let us continue from the topic, that is the conservation of wildlife. Okay, so the topic for the day is conservation of wildlife. So when we are going to discuss the topic, we will be able to get a good understanding of the topic if we are able to address two questions. Okay, while addressing two questions only, we will be able to understand the topic. The first question which I would like you to address is that what is the what is the need for conservation? The first question that need to be answered is that what is the need for conservation? Okay, and the second question will be what are we doing to conserve the environment? Okay, so I am reading on page number 50. On the left hand side there is the last paragraph, that is, we have selected our crops from a biodiverse environment, that is, from the reserves of edible plants. We also experienced and selected many medicinal plants. The animals were selected from large stock provided by nature as milch animals, means that whatever we needed we took it from the nature. If we required food, we took it from the nature. We took the plants, we produced the plants, we cultivated the plants on a large scale and consumed them all. Or we, if we wanted the animal products, we consumed those animal products, whether they were milk animals, they used to give us milk, whether it was the egg from those animals, or it was the meat of those animals. The whatever product we wanted from those animals, we were able to get that animal product. Okay, so they also provided us drought power, tra transportation, meat and eggs. Even the animals were used for transportation also. The fish provide nutritive food. We also ate the fish. Many insects help in pollination of crops and fruits, trees, and exerting biological control on such insects is harmful. Right, and we have been using many of the insects also. Not us, we have been using, the nature itself was using the insects, because insects were used in pollination, or they are also used today, also they are used in the process of pollination by the flowers. What happens that when the insects sit on any flower for extracting its nectar, whether it's honeybee for extracting the nectar of the flower to produce honey, the pollen grains get stick to the body of that insect, and when that insect move from one plant to another plant, then the pollen grains are transferred from one plant to another, and pollen grains are very important for the reproduction of plants. Okay, so every species has a role to play in ecosystem. Hence, the conservation is essential because every species have its role. So conservation is essential. So from here we are able to get our first answer. The first point for our answer, that why conservation is needed. Conservation is needed because every species plays an important role in the environment. So for this reason, conservation is required. Now the next question arises that okay, the conservation is required, that every species plays an important role, but why there is need for conservation, because that is the main question. So as has mentioned earlier, due to excessive exploitation of plant and animal resources by human being, the ecosystem has been disturbed. Because of the human interference, the ecosystem is disturbed. Because human being disturb the ecosystem by employing, by exploiting, basically by exploiting the nature. When we set up industries, when we cut trees, when we set up dams or big manufacturing plants, in that process we will need to clear the forest for that, and when we will set up industries, those industries will generate waste, and that waste is exploiting the nature, whether it is for the animals or whether it is for the plants. Okay, and that is disturbing the ecosystem. And not just that, about 1300 species of plants are endangered and 20 species of animals of plants are extinct. Okay, and so we got the second point of our, that is 15, so 1300, that is 1300 plants are endangered and 20 plants species are extinct. Means 20 types of plant species are extinct and 1300 types of plants are endangered. Okay, now the question is, what is the meaning of endangered and what is the meaning of extinct, and how are they different from each other? First of all, let us understand the meaning of extinct. Any species is called as extinct if we are not able to find even a single unit of that species, right? For example, today if we are going to go in search of dinosaurs, we will not get them because they are now an extinct species. They don't exist on the surface of the earth. That is extinct. And same as dinosaurs, 20 plants are extinct. 20 species of plants are extinct and 1300 plants are endangered. Endangered means those animals or those plants, those species specifically, those species which are on the verge of extinction, that those species will be extinct if they are not saved, they are not conserved today. So that is the reason for conservation. We need conservation because they are the species, many number of plants are endangered and many number of species, number of animals or plants are extinct. And same is the case for animals, that these is the number given in your books for plants, but as we read the second line, quite a few animal species are also endangered and some have become extinct. So the animal species number is not given, but many have been endangered and many have been extinct. Okay, so the main cause of for this major threat to nature are hunting by the greedy hunters for commercial purposes, people due to chemical and industrial waste, pollution due to chemical and industrial waste, acid deposition, introduction of alien species, and reckless cutting of the forest to bring land under cultivation and habitation are also responsible for the imbalance. That many of these species are extinct and endangered because they are being hunted for their commercial purposes, right? Like for the skin, the tigers are hunted. For the ivory, the elephants are hunted. For the horn of the one-horned rhinoceros, the rhinoceros is hunted. So these are the reasons that hunting is there, the exploitation of natural resources is there, due to which there is need for conservation and cultivation of are also responsible for the imbalance. Now the second question. I hope the first question is understood to you, that why do we need conservation. Now moving on to the second question, and the question number 2 is, what are we doing to conserve the forest? Now the second question is, what are we, or the government, what are we doing or the government is doing to, what are we doing to conserve the forest? Now in this question we are going to discuss about the steps that have been taken by the government, whether it is the state government or the central government at their levels, to conserve the flora and fauna or the wildlife. Okay, the natural vegetation and the wildlife. So the first point is that the government has set up 18 biosphere reserves. How many? 18 biosphere reserves. 18 biosphere reserves has been set up in the country to protect flora and fauna. 10 out of these, the Sundarban, Nanda Devi, Gulf of Mannar, the Nilgiri, Nokren, Great Nicobar, Manas, Simplipal, Pachmarhi, and Amarkantak, which is also known as Anchana, Achanak Kamar Amarkantak, which have been included in the World Network of Biosphere. So these are the 18 biosphere reserves. So let us understand that what are biosphere reserve, what is the meaning of the term biosphere reserve. See, biosphere reserve basically mean those reserves or those areas which are specified by the government, and government stops the interference of human beings in that area. Okay, so there, let us say that this is the area which is reserved by the government. So if there is a biosphere reserve, then there will be prohibition of the government on the entry of human beings for any purpose, whether it is for cutting of the trees, for hunting, for poaching. So there will be totally ban on the entry in those biosphere reserves for any purpose. Okay, and 10 of them are very famous. Second is, the financial and technical assistance is provided to botanical gardens. The second being technical and financial assistance to botanical to botanical gardens, right? To botanical gardens. That the government of India is also providing with the technical and financial assistance. What do you mean by technical and financial assistance? Technical and financial assistance means that the government of India is providing with the money, the financial assistance, and technical. Technical means that it is providing with the technology, right? It is providing a technology to different botanical gardens, right? So this is the process, that it is providing the technical and financial assistance to the botanical gardens. The third thing is Project Tiger, Project Rhino, Project Great Indian Bustard. So these are some of the projects that have been introduced by the government. So three projects, that one is Project Rhino, and the very famous for India, that is Project Tiger, because it is very success for India, that India is now the country with the maximum number of tigers because of Project Tiger only. Okay, so Project Tiger and Project Great Indian Bustard. Project Great Indian Bustard. These are the three famous projects that have been started by the government of India, so that the people, so that the animals could be saved. Okay, and they are also set up so that the hunting and the poaching of the animals should be stopped or could be stopped by these projects. So basically Project Rhino focuses on stopping the hunting of rhinos, as I have already told you that the rhinos are hunted for their horns, right? So to protect the rhinos from being hunted for their horns, the Project Rhino is started. There is Project Tiger, in which the tiger hunting is stopped, and because of this India is able to achieve the maximum number of tigers all over the world. And there is Project Great Indian Bustard, in which the Great Indian Bustard, the animal Great Indian Bustard, is being saved. Okay, and fourth thing is, the fourth point is that there are 103 national parks, 535 wildlife sanctuaries, that has been set up in the Indian region, so that there can be conservation of animals. Okay, so students, now I hope that you are able to understand that what are the questions and what are their answers. The first question being, what is the need for conservation? There is need for conservation of the wildlife, because every species plays an important role, and many of the species have become extinct, or they are being endangered on the verge of extinction because of the reckless use or the exploitation by the human beings, right? And what is the government doing? So there are 4 points that are there, that there are 18 biosphere reserves that have been set up. There is technical and financial assistance to botanical gardens. There are three projects basically named by the name of Project Rhino, Tiger, and Indian Bustard that have been launched. And there have been many eco development projects. These three are the eco development projects. Okay, so the eco development projects have been launched. So, and the fourth one is 103 national parks and 535 wildlife sanctuaries have been launched. Okay, So students, this is the end of this chapter. With this video we are going to end this chapter, and in the next video we will be continuing your syllabus with a new topic. Okay, so we will meet in the next video. Till then, stay at your home and stay safe. Thank you.